Well, here we are on September 5th, and we're entering the St. Paul's Garden, and it's very much about harvesting right now. We pulled a lot of the red peppers, the jalapenos, and we pulled a lot of these ripened red ones off, and we threw them into the freezer, so we'll be able to make some pepper jelly maybe and have some red pepper jelly for Valentine's Day. And you can see that the cucumbers, they're really about done, but I'm going to pull a couple more off. We've got lots and lots of pickles for everybody, and our pretty spicy peppers. This is the time of year where they really look showy, and we'll let these little plants hold their peppers a little bit longer, and then we'll pick those and put them in some vinegar so that we've got some nice spiced vinegar. And you can see finally we have some eggplants to show for ourselves, and this is a really nice variety. Initially I thought that what I had planted was the one that I had grown that was Rosa Bianca, and it turns out that this is a wonderful oriental eggplant that's called Ping Tang. And if you guys see how bright purple that is and how nice and long that foliage or that fruit is, and then you look at the one that's over here that's next to it, and that's more of a classic eggplant shape, and that's the darker purple, and it's going to have more of an oblong shape as opposed to these long fruit. And I'm saying fruit, but they are vegetables, but they're the fruit of the plant. And some of them have gotten so large they're wedging themselves into the ground. So we're really going to need to harvest those soon. And look at the yard-long beans. We have lots of those going to seed now, which is great. We're trying to pick as many of them as we can for freezing that are kind of like this. But the ones that have really become bulbous and large, we're going to keep that for seed for next year. We're also looking at some peppers, and our little red bells are still pretty green. And there's some in here. And our wonderful pepperoncini, or pepperoncini, I think there's a little bit of another syllable in there. They're just loaded with peppers. We'll pick those and we'll freeze them, and then you can see that even at the top here still, there are little peppers wanting to come. So if it stays warm, we should be in good shape. Our sunflowers are weeping over, really going to seed, and the herbs are looking pretty good. We still have these bush beans. All of a sudden, they just came into their own in August, and there are a lot of beans there. And this is one of our basils, and it's going to seed, so we can collect some seed as well at this time of year. We can harvest and save some seed for next year. And our tomatoes are, well, this wasn't the best tomato year, but you can see that some of them are, this is a gooseberry and another gooseberry, and they are starting to ripen, and this one is on the ground, and we'll have to reset that. And I have two sets of hands, or one set of hands. Our melons, I don't know, y'all. I think that they're about tanked. We'll see if those little stripy ones ripen. For the larger ones that were the cantaloupes, I did find some information about how to freeze them, and how to freeze them in a syrup so that they're done like a fruit cocktail, which might be a nice thing to do. I think we have zero luck on pumpkins and winter squash. And there is definitely a bit of a learning curve and a fertilizing curve, because we really do have to make better soil here. See that dragonfly? Oh, it just flew away. It's a wonderful dragonfly that's popping around here. Let's see if we can get close. Oh. Over there now. I would like us to keep a safe distance. And we have some watermelons coming. We cracked open some that were very early watermelons last weekend, which was Labor Day weekend. and they were ready, and the ones that started to fruit on the vine a couple weeks later were not quite ready. So we'll probably wait till the end of this week, or I guess it is the end of this week already, maybe the middle of next, and try some of the watermelon to see, and we'll see what we can do to share them as well, and leave this guy on as long as we possibly can to see how big it will get. And if nothing else, we might be able to get some seed from it so that we'll be able to try them again next year. And you can see without the foliage shelter, the cucumbers get a little bit scalded looking. That yellowing is more about not having sun or having too much sun exposure than anything, because you look at the one that's buried there and it's a nice green color. So the other thing that I haven't been able to film yet, because I have not been out during the days or during the middle of the day, is, isn't that a pretty vine? There are going to be a lot of flowers on there for many, many weeks still. And it's a very pretty, and it's a morning glory, so they're named morning glory for a reason. They're mostly, you can see it's already starting to wilt. The flower is opened in the early part of the day, so when you all come to school, they're probably looking fantastic. But it's a pretty one. And you can see a seed pod that we did let ripen here. Isn't this neat? And it's totally dried out. And inside of that, we'll go ahead and harvest some seed. Let's see if I can open this and show you guys. Oh, one just fell on the ground. That'll grow for next year. Let's see. There you go. See? That's the seed then. And we save those. Now, dried beans are also like this, so that if you wanted to just take them and let them be dried, and then you could put them, you need a lot of them to make beans for any kind of a meal, but you would then put them and soak them overnight and cook them, and then they would soften and they would be beans. But we're going to use these as seeds to grow our next year's batch. And I have a feeling that there'll be enough seeds here, if we do this right, that you could share them with your teachers, and you can share them with the parish, and we might even be able to do a little fundraiser with them and put 10 seeds in a bag and see if we can get a little donation for the garden that way. And we have some good pictures of what miraculous beans these are. So I will be back filming again soon. Our next mission here is going to be, as things go into fall, to set out our fall crops. And I think we're going to have all of you involved with us on that. And we're probably 2 or 3 weeks away from time to do that. So we'll keep picking until then, and then we'll go ahead and take some of the things like the cucurbits, all of those watermelon and squash and melon and cucumbers, and we'll take those 4 boxes and convert them. Even the tomatoes are going to probably be done in another week or so. But we're going to wait a while before we change out our sweet potatoes back there, because they're not going to be ready until after Halloween, maybe closer to Thanksgiving. And it looks like we've got some life left in our peppers and in our eggplants. So we'll take those 5 beds there and we'll transition them and start with maybe some root crops, or we'll be ready to do some salad greens or collards. Maybe even some radishes again. Our radish that was back here, it was the 2 that were left, they did not mature to seed, which is a shame. But you can see this one did some really funky growing. That is what the radish root did. And it's not going to go to seed, unfortunately. It's getting some diseased leaves here and here. And we'll try again. So hope everybody is enjoying their start back to school, and it looks like we're going to have some nice cool weather next week. 86, that's going to be cool. But our nights are going to be in the 60s, which is wonderful for your garden. So we'll be out here, all of us together again soon, and then we'll start filming what's going on with the planting of the fall crops. That's all for now.